Hey, what is up? My name is Rubidium. Today we are looking at the Tilta Gravity G2X gimbal. So about 8 or 10 years ago, brushless gimbals became a really big thing for filmmaking. There was a company called Movi that invented a two-handed rig that you could mount a camera on and get something similar to, but not identical to, a Steadicam movement, but it only cost $20,000 instead of $100,000 like a full Steadicam rig. Then maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the single-handed gimbal started arriving on the market, mainly for iPhones and GoPros. So about a year ago, Tilta came up with the idea of having a single-handed gimbal. So something that you hold with a pistol grip like this, just with one hand. You mount the camera in the middle, and the three motors are much smaller, much more compact, much more maneuverable than a big two-handed gimbal, and you're able to move a lot quicker with it. Up until now, the restriction has been weight. You haven't been able to get that big a camera on this type of gimbal, but this is the new Gravity 2X. You can put up to 10 pounds on it, I believe, which is big enough for the C200B that I'm filming this with. We're going to get to that later. Right now, I'm just going to show you what's involved in mounting and balancing a smaller camera, a more gimbal-friendly camera like the Canon XC10. It has 3 axes and 3 motors, 1, 2, 3. Each motor detects the movement and compensates in the opposite direction, so it negates the movement of your hand. So you can basically see how long it takes to set up, how it works, how easy it is to get the camera, or difficult it is to get the camera on and off a device like this. The very first gimbals were really complicated. You could take almost an hour to balance the camera, and if you moved the lens forward or backwards, you zoomed the lens in or out, it would totally change the balance and you would have to adjust before you could shoot. Modern gimbals like this one are much more forgiving. The motors in them are much stronger, and you're able to do a lot more without really having to set them up as intricately. So I'm going to speed this up. I'll time myself to see how long it takes me to get this camera on this gimbal. There you go. I didn't really have to do that much at all. You can then turn the gimbal on, and as it grips the camera and automatically levels it, you'll see the top of the camera become stabilized. So now I can move the hand around, and this particular gimbal has 3 modes, which are shown by the color of the light on the back. And you have a little button on here on the front that changes between them. The first one is mode that you can both pan and tilt with. The second one is double click, which is called flashlight mode, and the pan will remain, you're able to pan the camera, but the tilt will remain level as you go backwards and forwards, which means that you can invert this mode. The last mode, or 3 clicks, is chicken head, which you can neither pan nor tilt the camera. It basically stays locked on to what you're shooting no matter where the handle goes. They're all useful, they all have their place. The last one I like using for chases and running sequences, because basically you can just, as long as the camera's pointing vaguely at what you want to shoot, you can like run like crazy and the camera will stay where it's supposed to stay. It's pretty great if you have a smaller camera like a DSLR, even a big DSLR or a B camera like this one, and you want to get specific shots that are only 5-10 seconds long, and most shots in a chase scene are going to be 2 or 3 seconds long, if that. or you want to get a specific thing, you're only limited by the strength of your deltoids, right? But unlike a normal grip, Movi grip, where you have two handles, a single-handed gimbal relies really heavily on the strength of your shoulder, and it's certainly not something that you could shoot all day with, especially if you have a bigger camera. But to grab a nice dreamy little shot of someone walking in slow motion, or something like that, is perfect. Definitely something that packs down very small, could fit in a camera case with a lot of other stuff that you could have on set if you needed it. It could totally replace a slider setup for a lot of things, to get a push in on someone at a window, like I did in a recent commercial, or a pan along different objects. If you are thinking of shooting a film like I shot, with the entire thing on a stabilizer, on a Steadicam, on a Movi, this isn't practical. Yes, the batteries last a long time, but if you want to test this, go out and get a brick, and hold it with one hand in front of yourself, and time yourself. If you can get to 5 minutes, then go and buy one of these. But it's not something you want to do over and over again. It's not something that you want to sit there holding on to while actors go through a long dialogue scene. It would just be, it's just not the tool for that job. There are plenty of other tools. Tilta actually makes larger two-handed gimbals. They also make an amazing advanced warfare Call of Duty rig that kind of comes along your arms and supports the body of supports the weight of a gimbal on your body, sort of like an easy rig. That is a great solution if you wanted to do 5-10 minute takes, single takes, with great smooth motion. Something I was interested in is whether or not, if you matched this with an easy rig, you could hang the easy rig from the top. And if you don't know what an easy rig is, it's sort of like a backpack with a fishing pole attachment that comes over the top, and then has a little thread that comes down that you can attach a camera to that takes the weight from it. That could be interesting to try. I don't have one, so I can't, but you can see how quickly, even now, my shoulder is really sore just holding this here. I don't own a gimbal. This was lent to me by the people at Tilta, who coincidentally have a showroom right up the road from here. I would definitely think about owning something like this and bring it to a commercial shoot, just in case I needed it. I wouldn't bring a Ronin or a Movi to a commercial shoot. It's like another huge chunk of gear that is really gonna maybe get in my way. But something like this is great to just have if you need it, and it could really save you in a clutch. I'm gonna show you now some footage that I shot with it. People will probably ask me why I didn't put the C200 on this. You can see the difference between this and a lot of other one-handed gimbals is that they've moved this side bracket diagonally so that a larger, heavier camera can fit on it. I did put the C200 on. I just wasn't able to get any decent footage with it because I have the B, which is the lighter version. Once I mounted the camera on it, put the monitor on the side, put the batteries on, it was too heavy for me to operate with any sort of confidence. The weight of it is just really pushing what one person can handle. So I got a much better response with something that's well within the tolerances of the device, which is the XC10. This in 4K, in C-Log, you can run flat out with it, which is something I've never seen done with the Movies. Run flat out with it one-handed, get some awesome footage, which I'm going to show you guys now. So that's the Tiltamax G2X gravity gimbal. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I will see you next time.